Alright, hello once again. This is Jeff Scott of Rankin Technical College. And as part of the Rankin Technical College AWD, or Application and Website Development 1111 .NET Framework with Web Database class, I have been going over this 12-part series of articles from .NET Odyssey that's entitled ASP.NET MVC5 Free Course. So far, I have gone through part 1, where we went and kind of looked at our 35,000-foot view about what web application development, and ASP.NET MVC were all about. Then we went in and started to create our first MVC application. From there, we went in and talked about Razor and about views. And in the last chapter, we talked about layout, which brings us up to chapter 5, which is the chapter on model. As it says here, the model layer is responsible for all of your business rules. What's a business rule? Let's look it up. So I like to go out to wikipedia.org. Let's come in here and let's just put in business rule. All right, a business rule defines or constrains some aspect of business and always resolves, I should say, to either true or false. Business rules are intended to assert business structure or to control or influence the behavior of the business. They describe the operations, definitions, and constraints that apply to the organization. All right, so I work for Rankin Technical College. What would you say are the business rules? Well, in order to be able to take this class, you have to sign up for the class. After you sign up for the class, you have to pay for the class. Rankin has rules that says, for example, that since the class meets 5 times per week, you can miss a maximum of 6 days. Those are all what I would consider at least to be business rules. All right, let's just jump into the chapter. It says there in the last chapter, we use local objects in Vue to show the information to the users. We should not use any data or business rules in the view. Remember, with Model View Controller, we talked about that separation of concerns. So as it says, views should be responsible for only doing one thing. That is displaying output to end users. So, as we already mentioned, the model layer contains the business rules. The model layer is responsible for getting the required data. The model will get information from the controller, will go and possibly, call a database server or something else and give data back to the controller. The controller will then pass the model to the appropriate view so that the information can be displayed to the end user. So as the author says here, we are going to use the model to have the data, and we'll use the model data for showing the movie list in the view. So we are to open up our solution, right-click on Model, select Add New Item. So notice again, there's nothing in our model right now. I'm going to close a few things here just to kind of make this a little easier for us to look at. All right, right-click on Model, Add. Now I could either say New Item, or I can go all the way down to Class, because that new item, in fact, I'll do the new item, okay? So we've done all this. It says select code, class, and give some name. I have called mine movie, which makes sense. All right, so again, we're going to come down here somewhere in this mess. There is class file. I really and truly don't remember where it is. So let's do it the other way. Let's cancel out of here, right mouse click, add, and let's go down to class. All right, just to make it simple for ourselves. Okay, so it was under Visual C# class. They want us to call this movie, and I believe they wanted it to be singular. I have given mine movie, and the following code will be generated. This right here. Now let's take a look at what we have right now. All right, first of all, you'll notice that everything that's in here is gray, which means that as of right now, none of it's being used. All right, remember the name of our project is MicroMDB. All right, there's where the MicroMDB comes from. We are in the models folder. That's where the .models comes from. We just created a class that's public by default, and it's called movie. That kind of gets us to where we currently are. All right, this is what we're going to want to put in here. I'm going to just grab everything that's in here, copy it to the clipboard. Notice again, it starts with public class movie. So I'm going to jump back over to here. There's public class movie. I'm going to grab that and replace it with this. So let's take a look at what we've done. All right. So in our public class movie, for lack of better words, what's going to end up happening with these three fields is these three fields, basically, there are those fields that are shown right there are our three database fields. So, in other words, we're going to have a table named movie that will have in there an integer for rank. It will have a string for title, and it'll have an integer for year. You can see these are set up as properties, and each has got their get set. Then we come here. Hopefully you remember this from the C# class. What is this? It's a constructor. It's assuming that when we create a brand new movie, we're passing in an integer, a string, and an integer. The first integer represents the rank of the movie. The string represents the title. The second integer represents the year, I believe, that the movie came out. All right. So what do we have in here? Notice here we had public class movie. Now we've got public class movies, where we're going to have a list of movie items. So these movie items right here are of this type. It'll be called movie list. All right. And when we create this, we're going to be creating a new movie list. So movie list equals a new list of type movie. This right here will allow us to add a new movie to that list. Again, notice what we're doing. A rank, a title, and a year. A rank, a title, and a year. But what we are doing right now, and there's our get routine, which is just going to return that movie list. What we are doing, notice here we've got a thing that's called seed movies. What we're doing basically is we're going to set this up so that rather than us hard coding in those movie values, this will end up becoming the way that we fill that table. All right? Now, was that a great explanation? It was an explanation. All right, we have created model classes movie to represent a single movie and model class movies to hold our collection of movies. though in real world you would not create movie collection class as it would be stored in a database. All right, to illustrate the role of the model layer, that's why it was done this way. The index action, as it says, is updated with the following changes. So we've got to go back to our movie controller and update the action event to do what? All right. Number one, we create an instance of the movie collection class. That's what's done right here. Number two, we seed the collection with some movies. That's what's right here. Number three, we get the list back. That's right here. Number four, we pass the list of movies to the view. That's right here. So we can grab this, copy it to the clipboard, bring up our movie controller, go to our index, which right now isn't doing very much. Let's comment that out, and let's put this in. All right. Now, notice we get this error. It has no idea what movies is about, or movie. So if I take my mouse and put it on here, I get the little light bulb. I click here, and it says, do I want to include using our micro MDB, our IMDb.models? Where did it get that from? All right. Right there. So I'm going to click the using. It added the using right at the top, and you'll notice that all of my errors are now gone. Note the author says here, there are other ways to pass data from the controller, such as view bag, view data, temp data. Those will be discussed at a later time. In the view, it says you just need to make the changes below to use the model in the view. You need to include the model at the first line in the view. So we need to do this. Since it's a list of movies, we made it an IEnumerable. And enumerable means basically it's going to be a user-defined type, for lack of better words. So let's grab this, copy it to the clipboard. All right, so again, this is in our index.cshtml file. Let's copy this again in case I didn't. Here's our index.cshtml file. All right, now we've got all this stuff here, and I put it here and then commented it out. It's starting to get a little bit verbose or wordy here, so I'm getting rid of all that stuff that was in there. There. All right. So at the top it says we want to put in this. Notice there's no error. Okay. So that's the first thing. You can use the model in the view by accessing the model variable. Please note the capital M here. Now when you run it, we're not getting this thing right now, this application name, but I'm hoping that we're going to get this. So let's look. Model in the view by accessing the model variable. Please note the capital M in the model here. I'm going to grab all of this. I'm going to copy it to the clipboard. I'm going to come back down to our index file, which is in here. All right. And now I am going to take everything that's currently in the div here, and I am going to comment it out just in case we've got a problem. So let me hit enter, and let me paste in the new stuff. All right, and there it is. Now right now it looks okay. Let's check. When you run the application, it says you'll get the following result. Again, we won't get this black here that says application name. Come here, good time to do a file, save all, and let's run this index page, review it in the browser. Again, mine will just say application name at the top here. It won't have the black area here that says application name. Okay. Looks like that's what my error is right there. It's in my index file on line 30. Trying to close a few things that I may not need any longer. All right. I put that V1 in there. Could not be found. Okay. I think is that what we added here? Yep. I don't have a 1 in mine. A V1. I think I just got micro IMDb. So let's do another file. Save all. That was on me. Pardon me. And let's view it in the browser again. There we go. All right. So we're now getting our information. We're still kind of doing some hard coding in here. Again, what we're doing is we're learning to swim by starting in the shallow end, for lack of better words. All right. In the beginning, it says we have built the MVC application only using a controller, directly returning text from the controller to the user. Okay. Then we delegated the task of building the UI to the view. The view took care of the representation of the UI. We created data objects in the view and displayed them, but that is not the way that the view is supposed to be used. All right. As it says, the view should have one and only one purpose, that being to display data. Okay. So we move the data objects to the model so that the model can take care of the business logic and data access. In practice, the model layer will have just domain classes. The model layer will not even know what type of data access methods you're using, nor will it care. All right. So we're done with this chapter. We're going to jump on to part 6, which will discuss the entity framework for data access in ASP.NET MVC. I will be back with that shortly.